All right, so the first problem, number one, says that we have 32 and 37 and 35 and 34 and 25, 41 and 34. All right. So one of the first things we want to do is put these numbers in order. And so they have done that for us on the first one. When we put them in order, the first one's 25, then we have 32, then we have 34, another 34, 35, 37, and 41. Okay, so that's our numbers in order. So the first thing we're going to find is our mean, and the mean is the average. And the way we find the average is we add up all of the values, 25 plus 32 plus 34 plus 34 plus 35 plus 37 plus 41, and we divide it by the number of items that we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, in statistics, the symbol that we use to tell us how many items we have is a little n. And so little n is actually 7 in this case because we have 7 values. And so we're going to be dividing this sum by 7. So in my calculator, I can do something that will help me get the answer a little faster. And that is, since all of this stuff is on the top of the fraction, I'm going to put it in parentheses. And that's going to tell the calculator, do this stuff first. So I have a parentheses key on my calculator. So I'm going to hit that key, and you'll see that a parentheses pops up. And I'm now going to put the numbers in, 25 plus 32 plus 34 plus 34 plus 35 plus 37 plus 41. And now that I'm at the end, I need to close the parentheses. So I've told the calculator, do all of that stuff first, and then divide by 7. And so when I hit enter, I get 34. So it took 25, 32, 34, 34, 35, 37, and 41. It added all that together, and then it divided it by 7 and gave us an answer of 34. So our mean for this data set is 34. Next, we will find the median, middle. So we have to have our numbers in order, so that's why we ordered them. We put them in order right here, 25, 32, 34, 34, 35, 37, 41. And since there's an odd number, if we start eliminating from the ends and moving in, that's how I do it. And then I see that, okay, I land on 34 as that middle value. So the mean is this number right here, median, is this number right here. There are 3 on this side, 3 on this side. So the median is also 34. And then finally, the next item they want us to find is mode. Mode is the data point that appears the most, and we have two 34s, but that's the only number that appears more than once, so our mode is 34. So sometimes you get the same answer for all of the different values. And then finally, range. We take the largest number, 41, we subtract the smallest number, 25, and when we do 41 minus 25, we get 16. So those are our values for number 1. 34, 34, 34, and 16. Okay? All right. I'm going to go down now to number 6. We're going to move to number 6. On number 6, we have 5.2. We have 4.9. We have 3.8. We have 3.4. We have 5.2. And we have 4.5. All right, we've got to put these in order. Put these in order. You can do this by just kind of looking and going down the list, or you can use what we did when we were ordering decimals, and that is I drew a chart and I put the numbers in the chart. 5.2, 4.9, 3.8, 3.4, 5.2, and 4.5. So as I'm looking down my chart, I have 2 3 values right here and right here. So we're going to go from the smallest to the largest. So 3.4 is my smallest number. And then the next number is 3.8. Then I have some 4s. I have 4.9, 4.5. So 4.5 is my next number. Then I have 4.9. Then I have 5.2 and 5.2. So those are the next 2 numbers. So now I have put them in order from the smallest up to the largest. Now, if I'm going to find the mean, I add these up, 3.4 plus 3.8 plus 4.5 plus 4.9 plus 5.2 plus 5.2 divided by the number of items. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So N is 6. Our number of items is 6. So on my calculator, clear that out. I'm going to punch in parentheses. This way we can see it a little better. Parentheses 3.4 plus 3.8 plus 4.5 plus 4.9 plus 5.2 plus 5.2 close parentheses divided by 6. And I hit enter, I get 4.5. If you don't have one of these calculators, then you'll need to add this stuff up, get your answer, and then take that answer and divide it by 6. All right. Our next value that we're going to find is median. Median. Median is middle. So if we go to the middle, starting with the ends, there is no one middle value. Our two middle values are 4.5 and 4.6 because we have an even number of items. So I've got to find the average of those two. So I've got to take 4.5 plus 4.9 and divide it by 2 items. So on my calculator, I'm going to hit parentheses 4.5 plus 4.9 close parentheses divided by 2, enter, and I get 4.7. Then we find our mode. Mode means most, and the only number that appears more than once is 5.2. So our mode is 5.2. And then lastly, our range, we take the top value and we subtract smallest value. And on our calculator, if we hit 5.2 minus 3.4, we get 1.8. So our four answers are 4.5 for the mean, 4.7 for the median, 5.2 for the mode, and 1.8 for the range. Okay? I want you to do number 3 by yourself, and then I'm going to pick some of you to actually give me the answer that you found. So you're working number 3. Values are 1.5, 2.2, 1.3, 2.8, and 2.2. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. All right, I'm going to go ahead and show you the answers. Y'all, we're doing number 3. And so when you put the numbers in order, you should have gotten 1.3, 1.5, 2.2, 2.2, and 2.8. The mean, you add 1.3 plus 1.5 plus 2.2 plus 2.2 plus 2.8, and you divide by 5. There are 5 items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the sum of this divided by 5 is 2. So the mean was 2. By putting them in order, we can tell which one is in the middle. So the median is 2.2. The item that appears the most is 2.2. It's in there twice. The range is 2.8 minus 1.3. 2.8 minus 1.3, and that gives you 1.5. Okay. All right. Then we are going to switch to one that's going to be a little more difficult. So I'm going to send you this link. All right, and that sheet should look like this. All right, So we should have this sheet, and I want us to look at number 2. Look what we have at number 2. Uh-oh. Yep, we will not ever get away from having fractions. You will have fractions to do. So let me switch to my camera. And the first thing I'm going to do is write this problem down. So we're looking at number 2, and we have 1/3, 1/2, 2/3, 1, 1/3, 1/3, 1/2, 1/3, and 2/3. Okay. General rule, if the problem is given to you in fractions, you should have a fractional answer. But that does not mean that we can't use decimals to help us get to where we need to go. So I've got to put these in order. Okay, they've got to be put in order. I'm going to do smallest up to largest because that's what's typical. Well, I don't want to have to sit here and compare all of these fractions. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my calculator and I'm going to do 1 divided by 3, and I get 3/3 repeating. 1/2 you should know is 0.5. You shouldn't have to punch that in the calculator, and that's not repeating. Sorry. So that's 0.5. 2/3. 2 divided by 3 is 0.6 repeating. And we have 1. 1/3 we already found was 0.3 repeating. 1/3 again is 0.3 repeating. 1/2 is 0.5. You should know that. 1/3 we already found is 0.3 repeating. And 2/3 is 0.6 repeating. So I have 0.3, 0.5, 0.6, 1, 0.3, 0.3, 0.5, 0.3, 0.6. The 0.3s are the smallest. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So they will be my first fractions. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Then I have 0.5 and 0.6. So 0.5 is next, which is 1/2. I have 1, 2 of those. Then I have 0.6, which is 2/3, and I have 2 of those. And then finally, I have 1. Okay, so I used decimals to help me get the numbers in order, which is okay. If you'll remember when we were ordering fractions before, I told you there was another way we could do it that we hadn't gotten there yet, and that was to convert them to decimals. And then it's much easier to put them in order. But now I need to use fractions to get my answers. So my first value is my mean. That means that we have to take 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3, 1, 2, 3, 4, plus we have 2 1/2s plus 2 of the 2/3 plus a 1. Over, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 values. Our n is 9. Now, if you don't have one of these calculators, that problem is going to be a little more difficult for you. But this calculator, okay, I'm going to punch in. Since all of this I want done first, I want to add up all of this stuff. I'm going to hit parentheses, and then I have a fraction. There's my fraction button. Okay, there's my fraction button. So I'm going to hit fraction, and then I'm going to put that fraction in. 1, cursor down to 3, out, plus another fraction, 1, 3. So I've got 1/3 plus 1/3 plus another fraction, 1/3 plus the fourth 1/3 plus. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 1/3. Now I have 2 1/2s to put in. So plus fraction 1/2 plus fraction 1/2. Then we have 2 2/3. So plus fraction 2/3 plus fraction 2/3 come out. And lastly, we have a 1. Close parentheses, divide by 9, enter, and I get 14/27. Look how fast that was. And that is reduced. The calculator did all the work. Just that one problem right there makes this calculator worth the $16 or $17 to go get it. Amazon has them, Office Depot, Office Max, Staples, Target. Okay, next we're going to do median. Okay, so we have the median of this. Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. Thank you. That did not reduce the fractions. No, that's reduced. 7 goes into 14, but 7 does not go into 27. It'd be 7 times 4 be 28. Calculator doesn't make a mistake. The calculator is always going to be right unless we punch something in wrong. And so that is reduced. Our median is our number in the middle. And so I've got to start from the ends and I move in. There, there, there. 1/2 is the number that's in the middle. So the median is 1/2. Mode. Mode is most. There were 3 1/3 values. So the mode is 1/3. That's the number that appears the most. The range is the highest number minus the lowest number. Now, if you can do that in your head, that'd be great. It's 2/3 because 1 is 3/3. But if you needed to do it on your calculator, 1 minus fraction 1/3, enter, we get 2/3. Mean 14/27, median 1/2, mode 1/3, range 2/3. Let's look at number 4. It's another fraction one. So I'm going to write the problem down first. 1/5, 1/2, 2/3, 1/3, 3/5, 1/3, 1/2, and 4/5. I have to put these in order. So I'm going to use my calculator. 1 divided by 5 is 0.2. 1/2 is 0.5. You should know that one. 2/3, you should begin to learn it. 2/3 is 0.6 repeating. 1/3, you should get to know that. It is 0.3 repeating. 3/5, 3 divided by 5 is 0.6 even. 1/3, we already did, is 0.3 repeating. 1/2 is 0.5. And 4/5, 4 divided by 5 is 0.8. So to put these in order, the smallest one is 0.2. So 1/5 is the smallest. Then we have some 0.3s. So I've got a 1/3 right there and a 1/3 right there. So 1/3, 1/3. So that takes care of those. Then I have some 0.5s. So those are next. 1/2, 1/2. Then I have 0.6 repeating and 0.6 that ends. Remember that this is 0.666666 keeps going. This is 0.60000. This is smaller than that. So 3/5 is next. And then 2/3. And then finally, the last one, 4/5. There are my fractions in order. And I did that by simply changing to decimals and comparing the decimals. And then going back to the original problem and putting the original fractions back in their place. So now that I have all that in order, the mean is the sum of the numbers, 1/5 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 3/5 plus 2/3 plus 4/5 divided by, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Our n is 8. We have 8 data values. So we're going to divide that by 8. So in my calculator, since I want to do the stuff on the top, add all that up first, I'm going to use a parentheses. Get this where you can see what I'm doing. That's a little better there. So I have parentheses, and now I'm going to hit fraction 1/5 using my cursor plus fraction 1/3 plus fraction 1, go down, third, go out, plus fraction 1, down, 2, out, plus another 1/2, fraction 1, 2, plus another fraction 3/5, go out, plus fraction 2/3, go out, plus fraction 4/5, go out, close the parentheses, divide by 8, enter, and we get 59 over 120. 59 over 120. I'm going to tell you, I have a Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics. That's my math degree. And I would not want to have to add those fractions by hand and then divide it by 8. I would not want to do that. This is worth 16 or 18 bucks. It's worth it. All right, next.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible to do that in decimal form and then divide by 8?
The problem is if you do it in decimal form, you're going to be rounding off.
Right.
And because 0.6666, you can't put 0.66666666 forever in the calculator. You're going to end up rounding that off. And then you round off 0.333333333. Every time you do that, you're creating what is called round off error. And when you create round off error, that means your answer gets further and further and further away from what the actual correct answer is. So it could be done, but the chances are you would not end up with 59 over 120. Chances are. And if you have one of these on the GED, then changing that to decimal is probably not going to get you to the answer that they're going to have, because this is probably what they're going to have.
Gotcha.
So it will take you a lot longer to work the problem, and you are creating round off error, which means you get further, and every one of those that you round off, that's one more round off error. So you'd round this off, this off, this off, and I think that was it. Those 3 off. So you're creating 3 round off errors. Your answer is going to be way off. And more than likely, the answer is not going to be in decimal form. It's going to be some fractions, because the original problem was in fractions. This does all the work for you. All you've got to know is, what arithmetic do I need to do? And then the calculator does all the work. All right, then next we have median. The median is the middle. So if I start looking at my numbers coming in, I get 1/2 and 1/2. The middle this time is 2 numbers. So when it's 2 numbers, you have to add them together and divide by the number of items. Okay, and I already know this is going to be 1/2, but parentheses, fraction 1/2 plus fraction 1/2, close parentheses, divided by 2, and we get 1/2. So the median is 1/2. Mode is the one that appears the most. We have a 1/5, we have 2 1/3 values, we have 2 1/2 values, and then everything else is 1. So in this case, the mode is 1/3 and 1/2. It's 2 numbers. The mode can be multiple answers. And then finally, our range, we take the highest value, which was 4/5, and we subtract the lowest value, which was 1/5. And really, this you should be able to do without a calculator, because they're both fifths. 4 minus 1 is 3. I get 3/5. So don't let the fractions scare you off. Use decimals to help you get them in order, but then go back to the fractions when you're doing mean, median, mode, and range, because these answers need to be in fractional form because the original problem is in fractions.
If you liked this video, please click on the thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, please click on the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when new videos are posted, please click the bell.